Well, Mississippi State didn't just lose to Missouri. This was coaching malpractice. The decisions, the execution, it all fell apart. And we're breaking down how it happened.
You are Locked On Mississippi State, your daily podcast on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm Jaron Spor. Welcome to Locked On Mississippi State, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Like I mentioned, I'm Jaron. I'm a national college football writer at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. We've got a recap show for you today. So we're going to talk about what the offense did well, what the defense did well, what they didn't do well, and then also talk about our top dog of the week like we do every week, which is our player of the game segment. Before we get into it, yes, the virtual background is back. Moving some furniture around, but I've ordered some stuff, some really cool Mississippi State stuff. I got a wall that's blank now that I'm going to put it on. So we'll have it hopefully by the end of the week or maybe next week all set up. But the virtual background's back for now. But all right, Landon, what did you think about the offense? Missouri obviously wins 49-27. You scored 27 points against a pretty good defense, but I think it's a little misleading.
Yeah, it's a little misleading. And I mean, the biggest thing is Shapen played. And not only did he played pretty much the entire game. And I can't say he looked hurt, but he didn't look good. I don't know if maybe like the injury, like it was just enough that we weren't seeing it, but he didn't play well. That's for sure. And they didn't run the ball well. I mean, the offense really didn't do anything well.
Yeah. It was one of those weird things that it's like they didn't run it well because they didn't really run it. And I know you look at the stats and you're like, well, they ran it 52 times. Booth and Bothell had like one carry each at halftime.
Yeah, that's 16 total carries.
Yeah, then 16 total carries. That's not enough at all. But what I was going to say is then you look at Shapen. He has 17 carries. Now, sacks go into that as well. And I went back and looked of the, I believe 5 sacks by Missouri. 3 of those were against Shapen. The other 2 were on Kamario Taylor. So what you're telling me is Shapen ran the ball 14 times. And that's either designed runs or that's scrambling. Blake Shapen shouldn't run more than 5 times.
No, he shouldn't. And a lot of them were designed runs, which was strange. Like I get a few of them just so, on those zone reads, you do it so they know he'll pull it sometimes, like keep them honest type of runs. But the amount of just essentially QB draws was just wild. Like, I don't understand what they saw in this Missouri defense that went, this is how we're going to win. Shapen is going to run the ball up the middle 10 times today. That's how we're going to win this game. Yeah. It was one of the weirder, I guess, coaching decisions, play calling games. Like, and even if you thought that by halftime, how did you not pick up that wasn't working?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
This is the worst series I've ever seen. And it happened in the second quarter. Mississippi State's down 14-10. They actually go on a 16-play drive. They have a really good drive going. They get it first and goal at the 5-yard line. Yep. This is what their now plays are. -3-yard run, Blake Shapen. -1-yard run, Blake Shapen. 2-yard run for Kamario Taylor, which I will say on the -3-yard run, there was a penalty on Missouri, so it made it first down again. -1, then it was -1, then -2-yard run by Kamario Taylor, then -1-yard run by Kamario Taylor at the 3-yard line. Again, face mask on Missouri. So you're getting it set. First and goal at the 2. Kamario Taylor, -2-yard run. Delay of game. 2-yard run for Blake Shapen. Incomplete pass on 3rd and goal at the 7.
Yeah, that
is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight quarterback runs. And it wasn't just Kamario Taylor, it was Blake Shapen too.
That was the exact sequence I was thinking about when I was just picturing this happening. It was baffling. And, we've talked about how Lebby overall is a good play caller. We've seen a couple times this year where he's either gone too far into his bag or just refuses to change. But this was a new level of refusing to change. And it doesn't change my opinion on him overall. One game is not going to do that. But
Right.
this was bad. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the worst. I mean, I don't think this is the worst game of the year
Yeah.
for everyone involved.
And for those that remember, it was then a terrible snap on 4th and goal, so the field goal doesn't happen because then they return it 62 yards.
Yeah.
But with all this stuff that has happened, you enter the 4th quarter down 11.
Mhm.
11. And
We're still in it.
Blake Shapen has thrown a pick 6 already. And then you come out, you force a punt, 3 and out, 4th quarter start. You're down 11. Blake Shapen pick 6 again. And then you go for it on downs and you don't get it, and it's a touchdown the next play for Missouri. And now it's over. I mean, the game's over just like that. This is what I will say about Jeff Lebby, and I haven't changed my opinion on him because they've had a lot of success this season where a lot of people didn't expect it, and I understand the frustration. This is what I will say about about Jeff Lebby that's really frustrated me and is my biggest worry about him going forward. Head coaches have to make the tough decisions. That the best head coaches are able to put their relationship with that player aside and make the best decision. Great example, Nick Saban when he benched Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, and Saban's talked about, is one of his all-time favorite players, but things weren't going well in the national championship. He benches him, he puts Tua in, Tua wins the game. He had to make a tough decision in the biggest game of the year, but that's, he's the greatest coach of all time. So this is what has frustrated me. So Lebby came to Mississippi State, and when he came to Mississippi State, Will Rogers left and went to Washington. So they had to find a quarterback. They found Blake Shapen. Well, Blake is playing pretty good football, but only plays 4 games, or really 3.5. He gets hurt early, and the season wasn't great at that point, but it really went downhill after that. So then this year, it feels like Lebby's like, hey, this guy believed in me when I was the first head coach. He trusted me. He came here. He had an injury season. We got this young freshman that's really good, but Shapen believed in me. I got to believe in him. Let's roll with it. And we were fine with that, especially early in the season. Like, we're fine with that.
Yeah, it made sense at that time.
Yeah, the issue is now when you've seen these results and they're not happening anymore, and he's been terrible lately, you have to be able to make the tough decision to say, hey, thanks for believing in me. I still love you as a player. I love you as a person. I still believe in you as a player, whatever you want to say. But the best thing for this football team is to go this way. I hate that it happens, but we have to do this. And he has yet to make that decision, and that worries me going forward.
Yeah, it is. And another example is when Dabo, I can't remember the starter, benched him in the middle of the season.
Kelly Bryant.
Yeah, who had a very good career. But
I believe the year before led him to the playoff.
For true freshman Trevor Lawrence, which obviously we don't know that Kamario is Trevor Lawrence, but hey, I mean, again, it's the same kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know how you can't make that call. Like we batted about last week. We talked about it a lot, and we both kind of came down to this is your escape hatch. This injury is your public reason to where you save face for Blake by blaming it on the injury. And he chose not to do that. Not only did he not choose to do that, he decided to build the entire offense around running the ball with Blake Shapen.
Which I will say this, he talked about that after the game. We don't have time to get in it on this episode. We're going to do a whole segment on tomorrow's episode. But yeah, he talked about why he did that, and it's the most ridiculous thing you would ever read. But another good example, Lincoln Riley. He has Spencer Rattler, who is projected #1 overall pick.
Yes.
They are undefeated heading into Texas game, and this is a team with national championship aspirations, all that. Rattler is struggling. He benches him for Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams starts the rest of the year. That was the guy that was projected as the #1 overall pick, and he benched him. Now, obviously, now we know that, hey, he wasn't the #1 pick, but at that time, projected #1 pick, and Riley made that tough decision. Jeff Lebby can't make a tough decision about a guy that's probably not going to have much of an NFL career at all. Like, again, if it was a guy that is just prolific passer, like, for example, Will Rogers hasn't had any NFL career, but he was a prolific SEC passer. Like, I think he's still the all-time leading passer or second or something in SEC history. If you wanted to hitch your wagon to that, that's fine. But Shapen isn't even that. So, like, I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. And just another thing that, I mean, the offensive line, I understand they're still trying to figure out exactly where everyone goes. But at this point, you almost have to quit just shuffling. It almost feels like they're shuffling to shuffle. I mean, it was great. Albert Reese was back, but they like had him at guard, and then they moved him out, and then
And he
benched someone.
looked like a guy that was rusty.
Yeah, I
Big
mean,
time. Yeah.
they got to start figuring out who those 5 or 6 are and just rolling with
Yeah.
them instead of this constant movement.
And I will say it didn't help that Brenen Thompson gets hurt in the first
Yeah.
quarter. I believe it was first quarter. He had 2 catches, 60 yards. One was a 54-yard catch. Gets hurt, doesn't play the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you lose your best receiver. That doesn't help. Now, Anthony Evans had a good game, but 7 for 71. And this is also something Lebby touched on that we'll have to talk about tomorrow. But they asked him about, hey, are you kind of concerned that third receiver hasn't stepped up? And this was a big example of that because it's always been Evans and Thompson. And we've talked about that all season. And Evans played well. But when Thompson went out, it was just Evans.
No one else. Yeah.
Yeah, no one else. All right, coming up next, we got to talk about the defense, what they did well, what they didn't do well, which was most of it. But we'll talk about that coming up next. Well, the NBA is back, and there's no better way to get in on the action than on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Even if you missed the start of the game or want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 of bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. And thank you for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen today. And thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. All right, Landon, what did you see from the defense?
Ahmad Hardy running all over them.
Yeah.
Is really all you saw from that defense. They didn't make Zollers have to do anything. The man completed 8 passes.
Yeah.
And
I thought they looked good in pass coverage, honestly. But
they didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
25 carries for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
What the heck did you do this week? Like in preparation? I mean, you knew they were handing the ball to him. Yeah. What were you doing?
Yeah, that was we talked about it coming into the game. Like, if Zollers beats you, he beats you, but you need to sell out to stop the run. Yeah. We even said, like, hey, I would just go man to man and just 8-9 guys in the box and sell out. Not only did he have 300 yards, he had it at 12 yards a carry. So he was and 3 touchdowns. Literally, and this is why we thought it was going to be kind of a low scoring, and even John from Locked On Mizzou thought the same thing.
Yeah.
We just, again, I didn't see Hardy just having this game like this. Now, what we did say was, hey, if he got to 150 or something, like, yeah, you're in a good spot. But 300, I mean, that's back-to-back weeks you've allowed over 300 yards rushing. And the thing is, it's actually worse than that because you sacked Zollers a few times, and so he has negative 22 yards rushing.
Yeah.
So the 326 actually should have been, what, 348?
Yeah.
Or 350 maybe. Yeah, around 348. There was a -2 for team. I don't remember what that one was. So let's say 350 with the guys that actually ran the ball. Yeah, and that's again back-to-back weeks you allowed over 300 yards. The defense has improved a lot. So I don't want to act like this is the terrible defense from last year. Pass defense, I still think they're really good. But, man, them not having a front 7 worth a dang is really showing up.
It is. And they didn't do it every play, but they did it often where they sold out to stop them. Like, you would see 8 guys in the box with, like, the 9th close, and it didn't matter. Mizzou's offensive line just handled the front 7, opened holes, and then Hardy would get some space and he'd make someone miss or just outrun people. It was, I mean, there was nothing you could do. It was, honestly, it looks like when you're playing a video game and you're like, oh, they can't stop this run play. And you just keep spamming it over and over and over. And yeah, the defense has gotten better, but there's no depth. The team is tired. The guys they have are good, but they're not game changers up front. So when you have tired, solid players with no depth and you just get run off the field like this, there's nothing you can do. Like, as a defensive coordinator, you can't send 11. I mean, there's nothing you can do. You have to keep lining up and trying, which is an awful thing to say.
A few, yeah, I know. A few weeks ago, we had a comment, and basically he wanted to replace the whole defensive staff, and he named all these coaches he wants to replace them with. And I replied there, and I said, if you want to replace the defensive line coach or coaches, and
Yeah.
you want to do that kind of thing, fine. I'm fine with that because the defensive line has not been very good. They don't have a lot of talent there. They're the one spot that in the transfer portal didn't really help. Now, losing Will Whitson obviously is big, but you can't rely on one guy
Right.
to do everything for you. And it wasn't like he was, Colin Simmons or R. Mason Thomas or, these elite
Yeah,
guys.
he
Like
wasn't Quentin Williams coming through the door.
yeah, he was good. He was good, and he was your best one, but he wasn't like elite level. And I think this game was the perfect example of that because, and these last two games really have been the perfect example of that because the secondary's actually played pretty well, and it's done that all season long. The only time Georgia started having success in the passing game was after they were having success running the football.
Mhm.
And then when you had to sell out, then they started hitting some passes, and that's going to happen to any team. Doesn't matter how good you are. In this game, it was just they just ran down your throat, and when they did try to throw, they had no chance of completing a pass. It felt
Mhm.
like, and so I think I tweeted it or I texted someone about it. I can't remember which one. About early third, mid third, I said, if I'm Missouri, I'm not passing it the rest of the game. And it
Yeah.
wasn't just because Hardy was having this great game. It was because I really thought the only way they were going to lose this game was if Zollers made a big mistake. So you might as well just not let him make that mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why would you
Yeah.
not? I mean, why
Yeah.
would you put the ball in harm's way? It didn't matter. This defense, I
Yeah.
mean, your best running back is averaging 12 yards a carry. And the guy who's spelling him is, averaging a cool 5 yards a carry. I mean, why
Right.
are you even throwing the ball? Like, I get throwing one or two easy ones here just to get the guy, keep the guys
Mhm.
engaged. But I mean, why are you even thinking about it? It was painful to watch. Like, it almost got to the point like you start laughing because it's so bad. Like, it's just
Mhm.
like, what are we doing out here? Like, this
Well,
is so bad.
how many times have we said this? So Mississippi State had 2 sacks and 5 tackles for loss. 4 of the tackle for losses were by linebackers or a safety. And then one of the sacks was by a linebacker. How many times have we said that where they get these TFLs or these sacks and it's not a defensive lineman?
Pretty much every week. I
Yeah,
mean,
we say it all the time.
yeah, I think
Outside of when Will Whitson was doing it.
I mean, one of the sacks was by a lineman, correct? This week, Dinkins
Yes,
had one, I
the
believe.
Dinkins,
Yeah,
and that was his TFL.
yeah, that one. When was
He
the
was the
last
only one that had a
time?
TFL and a sack outside of linebackers
When
and
was the
safety.
last time we had a defensive lineman with that stat before Dinkins had that? I think it was Dinkins like 3 weeks ago.
I was about to say, I think it was Dinkins again.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. It wasn't. It's not an every week thing. It's
Right.
every other game, every 2 or 3 games that we have one guy making one negative play up from the defensive line.
Yeah, and in the SEC especially, that just can't happen.
No, it can't
I
happen.
mean, yeah, if you're doing that, I mean, because like let's look at last week. Last week they played Georgia, obviously. They had no sacks, but they had 4 TFLs. One, two, actually all 4 TFLs were by secondary players. Brylan Lanier, Jaron Manning, Tony Mitchell. They had all 4 of them. Not one defensive lineman.
Why
Not even a linebacker in that one. It
why
was
would
all defensive backs.
that's insane. Like, it's
Yeah.
so bad how this defensive line is playing. And like I said before, it would be one thing if you had 3 guys who were all like 320 pounds and they were just clogging that line, and you had 2 linebackers flying around just
Mhm.
racking up TFLs because you had a line that was just legitimately designed to occupy the
Yeah.
offensive lineman. But that's not how this defense is built. This defense is built that these guys have to make plays, and
Yeah.
they're not doing it.
Yeah, the best game that they had as an offense or as a defensive line, I would say, is probably the Texas game. There was 12
Mhm.
TFLs in that game. Malik Silla had 3, and then Red Hibbler had a half, and Jeray Bledsoe had 1.5. So that was probably their best game. Isaac Smith was obviously a big loss in this one
Yeah.
too, because he's there for the run fits a lot of the time, and not having him to kind of control Hardy was big, and really that's when Georgia started popping the runs
Mhm.
was when he got injured and had to come out of the game too. So it would have been nice to have him for sure. But all right,
Yeah.
let's get to our top dog of the week. Don't go anywhere.
College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's just nothing like it. But let's be real, actually getting tickets can feel like more of a battle than the game itself. The endless queues, hidden fees, and prices jumping at checkout. But that's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantage back to fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. And I pulled up Game Time, and in just a couple taps, saw some amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25. And my favorite part about Game Time, and I've said this many times, is that you can see your view from the seat in the app. No more wondering about buying tickets and wondering what that view is going to be until you get there. You know it when you buy the tickets. And it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Game Time today.
All right, well, thanks for making Locked On Mississippi State your first listen every single day, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, Landon, who is your top dog of the week?
Honestly, this was a week that it was very tough to come up with like a player of the game for Mississippi State's
It was very hard.
perspective because, yeah, Shapen had 2 rushing touchdowns, but when you throw in the interceptions and just how it happened, you can't, I don't know. I just couldn't do that. I mean, for me, it's Kamario Taylor. I mean, he was 4 or 5, threw the 1 touchdown, and then, another 22 yards rushing. So, I mean, it was a pretty good day for him in his limited time, which he should have played. If they're going to run the ball like that with the quarterback, it should be 90% him. So, again, he's shining in limited time. Hopefully, we start to see more of him.
Yeah, that's, as you said, it's very hard to figure out what we are doing with this one. But I tried to find someone like on defense, but the defense was so bad, It's hard to do that. I ultimately just went with Brenen Thompson because I kind of took a cheat way out.
Yeah,
2 catches, 60 yards in 1 quarter. So I'm going to give it to him. I also thought about giving it to Anthony Evans because even though he was pretty much double teamed after that, he did pretty good with 71 yards on 7 catches. But yeah, I'll give it to Brenen Thompson just because it did look like he was going to have a pretty good game. And hey, maybe things change if you have that threat now the rest of the game. I don't know if they do because you couldn't really stop them running the football at all. But I would like to I'd like to think that it would.
Right.
But yeah, I'll give him credit because that obviously set up their first touchdown drive.
Yeah.
And they didn't get a ton going pretty much after he was out. So yeah, I'll go with Brenen Thompson.
Yeah, another week he looked like he was about to have a big game, and it just, that injury kind of sucked the life out of the offense early on, and then they kind of got going, but they never, again, running the quarterback is just over and over. I'm still confused by it, but yeah, this was a tough one for this segment to really pick anyone because even the defensive guys who had decent days, it's kind of like, but the whole defense was so bad. It's kind of like, do I want? Because I mean, Nick Mitchell had a good day, 6 total tackles, a sack, and 2 TFLs. I mean, that's solid work.
Yeah.
But the defense was so.
But he also had bad run fits throughout the game.
Yeah, he did. I mean, and he had a lot of chances. Yeah. I mean, he had like 40 shots at those tackles. So.
Yeah, and it wasn't just him. I mean, there was bad run fits all over the
the
field. That's why you allow 300 yards rushing. But yeah, this was by far the toughest game. And we've obviously had some losses. We even had the A&M game that was a blowout in the 4th quarter. But even that game was pretty easy to find out. Who played well. What was that?
I said you looked competent in that game, though. This one was
you did.
What are we doing?
Well, and Manning had a massive game that game. Yeah. Fluff Bothwell and Booth had really good games in that game. So it was easy to find a player of the game. This one, I think Bothwell and Booth would have been able to have that because, again, they both have 1 carry in the first half. And then the first drive in the second half, they start running the football with them. And lo and behold, they start making it down the field. And I think that was the one that ended in a field goal. Or no, they scored a touchdown to start the 3rd quarter. So yeah, shocker. You start running with them and you end up getting in the end zone. But Not a fun one. Not a fun one to watch.
This one.
Yeah, not fun. All right, well, thanks for being Locked On Mississippi State, your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On SEC. Chris Gordy breaks down the best conference in college sports, from the rivalries to the championship and every game in between. Find Locked On SEC on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Jaron. Check out my work over at Athlon Sports. That's Landon. Follow us, Locked On Mississippi State. We're on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We post daily videos Monday through Friday. So check those out. Bye week this week, so no pre and post game, obviously, at the end of the week on Saturday. So until next time, Hail State.
Hail State.